I immersed myself in things that meant something to me while I was growing up. The things I felt most naturally drawn towards before the world started to influence my decisions. But it wasn't always this way, and it took me some time to find this path. This story starts 5 years ago when I was going through a really rough period of my life. I was 23 and just starting to make really good money as a cosmetologist. Long story short, I had to walk away due to health problems I was having because of this career. I enjoyed this job for the most part as it was a creative outlet for me, but I was really starting to hate the environment. Funny because I was looking for a way out, but honestly, I don't know if I would have left because the money was so good. I felt like I lost my identity in more than one way during that period. I remember being very frustrated and having the feeling of failure being a hard one to shake. Months went by and I had no idea what direction I wanted to take in my life. I was changing a lot as a person, and the things I used to love doing no longer served me. Randomly, I remember there being a day I sat down with a blank piece of paper and a pen. I sat there unsure for a while of what I might write down, and then I had this thought. I should write down the things I enjoyed doing throughout my childhood and start doing those things. I wrote down simple things like being outside, making art, and cooking. This was sometime around the beginning of 2018, and spring was right around the corner. I started to have a thought that maybe I should start a garden. I was becoming really passionate about learning how to be more self-sufficient. The only time I gardened, or grew anything for that matter, was around the age of 7 or so. We lived in South Carolina, and one summer my sister and I grew green beans, and from what I remember, that was it. I never gardened again, mostly because we moved around a lot and never really got established anywhere else, but I remember that being one of my favorite summers. Even though I had all of these thoughts, when it actually came to starting the garden, I was willing to put it off another year. I didn't want to invest the money getting started, but in reality, I think I was just unsure and scared of the commitment to try something new again. In my generation, I think many of us get caught up thinking things are a waste of time unless they can make us money. As a child, I always remember just going for whatever interest I had, and I had parents who supported me in anything I set my heart on. Luckily enough for me, I have a husband that pushes me to do the same. So with him getting the wheels turning, I started gardening in 2018. Little did I know this would fuel my passion for other things. The next few years were full of discovery as I learned more about homesteading and permaculture, two things I never knew about. I instantly felt drawn to learning more about sustainable methods of growing food and taking care of the land. Funny because I took ecology in high school and I remember loving learning about nature and sustainability, yet I didn't even see that until I was fully immersed in this new life I was building. As I started to learn more and more, I wanted to share with others, so I started YouTubing again. Yes, again. You won't find any of my old videos on this channel anymore, but I've always enjoyed film production and editing. I was actually my high school's broadcasting producer, and it's where I started to learn this skill set way back in 2009. Gardening brought me back to something I loved, and I'm very thankful. It goes back to me saying, immerse yourself in the things you enjoyed doing growing up, and that's where today's story turns to present day. Sometimes you just have to take leaps for things that excite you, even if you're not 100% ready. Why? Because you will immerse yourself and learn more than you ever would if you weren't being hands-on. I personally think this is the best way to learn anything, especially if you're a visual learner like myself. Since I moved around so often as a kid, I learned this pretty early about myself, and it's one reason why I actually became a cosmetologist all those years ago. But regardless, the one thing on my list that I haven't fully immersed myself in again yet is art. You can say video creation, gardening, and cooking are all forms of art, and yes, I agree. But when I was thinking of this word, I thought of the hours every day I would spend drawing, painting, and molding throughout my childhood. My favorite always being pottery. It's been around 10 years since I've done anything ceramics, and there's a lot to learn as I've never mixed my own glazes or fired a kiln before. What I'm about to say next, I never really had the words for, as I'm not really the best when it comes to being poetic. But there was a day about a year ago I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and there was a moment she said these words, and it's like she knew what I was thinking even though I couldn't put the words into context. Her quote being, "Make your waiting room your classroom." I'm currently still waiting to find a kiln and various other things, but right now, you know what I can do? I can practice throwing clay, find a style, learn how to recycle clay. The list goes on and on, to be honest. If you look for the areas for things that you can do now other than the things you still can't do, you'll be far more advanced and ready for the next step when it unfolds. I was able to find this really nice pottery wheel on Facebook Marketplace for a steal after months of searching. I ordered some clay that arrived last week, so this entire weekend I was starting to retrain and learn new techniques, and also just kind of relearn in general since it's been so long. I definitely had quite a few fails along the way, but I also had a few successes. As I'm waiting for the next piece of the puzzle to unfold, I felt drawn to share this with you today as I wanted to document something from the very start. I wish I could go back in time and do this with the garden. I hope you have the courage to fully immerse yourself in the things that you draw interest towards. You never know what one thing could change the path of your life. Thanks for watching today, guys. I'll see you all next week. Bye.